This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome to the Elevate Construction Podcast, where we elevate the construction experience for everyone, one meeting at a time. We do this by creating integrated environments with high accountability. My name is Jason Schroeder, and today's podcast is about how to sustain a culture that will outlast the natural entropy of the job site. Please share this podcast, rate it, or comment. We are trying to get the word out. This podcast actually came as a direct response to a question. The question was, how can I implement these concepts and get people to do them on the project? I've basically shared the information with the trades, I've set the expectation, and now I need help actually getting it implemented. So that's what this podcast is about today. And I'm so excited. Every time I start to record one of these things, I listen to some music, amp myself up. I am ready to go. Let's do this. So here's why you'll want to listen today. Do you want to implement concepts like cleanliness, continuous improvement, but you're having a hard time? Do you want to implement things like perfect safety, zero tolerance? Do you want to have really good organization? Have you ever started to gain operational excellence, but it went away after a while? Have you ever run a remarkable project like up until finishes or when more contractors came on site and then it really started to fall away? Do you find that the chaos of a project is just too much to overcome sometimes? Well, if any of these even resonate just a little bit, today's podcast is for you. I'm so excited because this system works everywhere we try it. Proven results every single time. Every single time we try it with dedication and determination and a project team that is willing to go get it done. So here's a story. Again, back to the research laboratory. I started a few concepts like cleanliness, nothing hits the floor, organization, plan your site logistics and draw that out on a map, and everyone needs to follow the location of any of our staging, safety, zero tolerance. But I found out that there was a certain amount of reminding that I had to do when implementing those systems. It wasn't just about, oh, I got this training and now I want to go implement, and then I tell people about it, and then it magically happens. I kind of thought that that's what would happen out on the project, but I was in for a really lively awakening, is I guess how I would call it, because that's not exactly what happened. I found out that there's a certain amount of reminding and correcting over and over and over and over that needed to happen that will not just happen naturally, meaning that these things that I'm trying to implement will not happen naturally without that reminding and correcting. One quick note here. I'm going to go off script just a little bit. Here's how this happened for me. This explains why I do these podcasts and these other things. All of these ideas didn't come from me. I was able to go be the lead superintendent on a project right after I did 3 types of trainings. Well, actually, it could be 3 or 4. But anyway, I'll take you through it. So I started reading lean books, started with 2-second lean, and then the Toyota Way, and then the books like The Goal, and just lean book after lean book after lean book. And then there was a training, actually there still is a training, you can go reference it. It's called Lean Core, and that is an online series of lean training videos online that you can go access to learn about lean concepts. So I went through that. There's an 8-week course. It's an integrated course. And I went through a company-specific scheduling training that's centered around planning, scheduling, and production planning. And so after those 3 trainings in pre-construction, I was determined to go implement these things because lean early on, not so much today, but early on was this hard thing that we had to implement. And all of the examples were from manufacturing. And it was very difficult to say, how do I apply that in construction? How do these concepts apply to us? So I was determined to go implement and figure out how they did apply to us. And so that's why my examples start with work orders and then, making sure that when people on site, they were oriented and starting the project out correctly the first time. So I got the opportunity to basically design an experiment from the beginning, kind of this unfair advantage of being able to go through this training and go do these things to see what really worked. And the training was outstanding. I mean, there was a lot of it. And I took notes, tried to implement, and got it done for the purpose of really seeing how we could expand this lean concept in our industry, and for the purpose of helping others, in addition to my projects, successfully implement lean in the construction way, meaning on construction projects. So that's how I got started. So again, I found out after doing the work orders, making sure that everything's in their contract and orienting them on site, that there was a certain amount of reminding that had to take place. So let's start with a definition. What is the definition of entropy? It is the second law of thermodynamics, and the definition is it is a lack of order or predictability, the gradual decline into disorder. Now, our projects do that. And again, I was surprised at the constancy of this decline. The fact that once I set up a system for cleanliness or organization or safety, or lean systems, or the last planner system, or the weekly meeting structures, or how we were going to receive deliveries, or how we were going to standardize quality, or what were we going to do for lean improvement ideas from 2-second lean, or how were we even going to like organize the lunchroom or take care of the bathrooms or handle standard systems like orientation and training stickers, just anything on the project. I found out that there is a lack of order or predictability, a gradual decline into disorder. Now, I didn't get disheartened by that because I've always remembered that, there's a certain amount of discipline and pushing that has to go into certain systems like this. And I figured that if folks from corporate or, my boss or my pay raises or my performance reviews were going to be based around me finishing this project with the team, that I was going to just go all hog kosher style. Like I am headed in this direction. There's nobody that's going to stop me. And if somebody said, well, I don't like that idea, or I think you should be softer, or I don't think you should be as strict with this, I was like, well, if they're going to hold me accountable to it, we're going to do it the right way. So I just persisted with it. I started to remind people. I started to remind them that we had standards. I started to shut down crews when they were too unclean. I started to send people home when they were unsafe. I turned back deliveries when they were not on time. And I graded contractors based on whether or not they would show up to meetings on time and fill out their safety reports. I started to do these things. And I apologize that I always use cleanliness, safety, and organization as my example, but there are literally hundreds of other systems that we set up in a construction project that require the same type of determination. I just personally think that cleanliness, safety, and organization are one of the most important, so I always remember them here. I don't only know how to do one thing. I do want to mention that. I will cover these other systems in future podcasts. So that turned into a system that I will describe here in just a bit, but I want to keep you on the edge of your seat and keep you anticipating here for just a minute. So everything in the project is headed into a state of decay. That means our work, that means our standards, that means our cleanup, that means handrail, that means our safety provisions, that means our, delivery software and scheduling, that means our rules, that means our culture, everything. And it is our job to go faster than the pace of that decay. It is our job to go faster than the pace of that entropy. You have to say, I will be more persistent, more determined, more consistent in everything that we do. And let me give you a quote. You must outpace the entropy of a project by being more determined, more persistent, and more consistent than anyone or anything on site. I forgot to tell you that quote at the beginning, but there you go. One more time. You must outpace the entropy of the project by being more determined, more persistent, and more consistent than anyone or anything on site. And I really, really do believe that that is the key. When I observe superintendents, and that will be the example that I'll use in this podcast, although this can apply to any position in construction, when I observe superintendents and they say, yeah, I reminded somebody, or yeah, that's the system here, or yeah, I've told people that that's what we're going to do, or yeah, that's the project rules. I'm always waiting to hear, does that superintendent go do those things to make sure that it's implemented? One of the signs of a really good superintendent is whether or not they pick up trash. And I know that there are people that disagree with me on this. You may be listening to this podcast and think, what? Wait, you just told us the other day to stay in your role. Well, here's the thing. You have to set an example, and whatever the project superintendent, the lead superintendent is doing on that project, everyone else will eventually, I want you to keep note of that eventually word, will eventually follow. For me personally, when I go out on site, if I see trash, I pick it up. If I see a pile of trash that is too much for me to pick up at one, time or in a walk, I will stop and I will use this system that I'm about to tell you about to take care of it. But if a superintendent will not pick up trash, then there isn't an example there to make sure that it's important to everyone else. So the best superintendents in our industry, bar none, and I've learned this from observation and experience, are the ones that care enough to go do those things that will make it safe on site. My rule of thumb is I put on my gloves. If I can keep the amount of trash in my hands and walk through my project and keep it in my hands, maybe I'm picking up some trash and I get a little pile of trash in my hand and I throw it in the trash can and then maybe I pick up some more, that's fine. That's an indicator that we're at acceptable levels, right? We're nearing perfection. But if I can't fit it in my hands, that's the indicator that I need to start using the system to make sure that crews are cleaning up after themselves and that there are systems where people can be accountable and come fix those situations that are too much for me to go fix myself. So that's kind of a habit that I've picked up and learned. I learned it from Paul Akers actually in his book 2 Second Lean and in some of his videos that he shares. I learned that you have to be able and willing to do that, and that can be a really good indicator. So I'll share that trick with you. It is our job to be more persistent, more determined, and more consistent. The current state of the industry is that bathrooms start to become these nasty, disgusting places that are in a state of decline. Cleanliness goes out the window. Quality starts to suffer from fatigue. Emergencies happen, and we don't get to the things that we need to get to. Systems start to break down, and we get too busy to address them, and then sometimes we even forget. So here are some principles to remember. We are CROs. We are Chief Reminding Officers. I stole that from the book The Motive by Patrick Lencioni, one of my heroes in this industry and for business and consulting and for team building. The other concept that I want to share with you is that whatever we do in construction must be as addictive as Facebook, informative as YouTube, and quick as Wikipedia. I hope that quote scales just everywhere in this industry. I hope somebody steals that from me and just drives that to the end of the planet. I mean, that is so true. We have all of these project management systems, and I hope that everyone's listening to this. We have all these project management systems with quality inspections and safety inspections and all of this documentation that's just garbage, like so many fields that you have to fill out, and it takes forever and it's so counterintuitive, and then the information is hidden and it's not accessible to the trades and it's not useful and it's so counterintuitive and it's hard to install and it's hard for foremen to access, and on and on and on and on and on. And really what we've done is we've incentivized these software companies, these applications, to create workflows that were easy for them, that weren't easy for workers. And so I want to repeat for anybody that is listening to this podcast, and quite frankly, if you're a software developer, I hope you're a little bit insulted right now. Whatever we do in construction must be as addictive as Facebook, informative as YouTube, and as quick as Wikipedia. There's a reason that these companies are successful. They're fast, they're quick, they're addictive. We have to get people where they are. Principle number 3, our people most of the time want to do the right thing. They just need the support and they need systems to clear the path. There's 2 podcasts that I'm going to do really close after this one. One is standard grading systems on a project, and the other one is a concept about switch. I'll tell you briefly right now about the book Switch. This book is over the top good, and it talks about the concept that you need 3 things in order to change behavior. 1, you need to reach somebody's intellect. 2, you need to reach somebody's heart, their motivation, why they want to do it, and motivate them. And 3, you need to clear the path. So this principle really centers around clear the path. Our people most of the time want to do the right thing. They just need the support. So if we have a system that tells people what they should do, and we have a system that motivates them to care about why they should do it, and then we have a system that is as addictive as Facebook, informative as YouTube, and as quick as Wikipedia that clears the path to allow them to do it, then we have a really good chance of getting people to do it. No one wants anybody to fail. People want to stand strong, and people want you to stand strong. So let me just go on a quick little off script rant here. So I'll liken this to my personal life. I first learned this when Katie and I, as a family, were first starting to set standards. We would do this, we wouldn't do that. Like, we are going to do this on Sunday, we won't do this on Sunday. These are our standards as a family. And I remember, and I love her, but my mother-in-law would tease me and she'd be like, Jason, aren't you a little hypocritical? You just got mad. Why are you gonna like go do this now? Like, aren't you like such a hypocrite? Or, oh, are you too good for us now? Or like just on and on and on, nagging me and nagging me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is an absolute nightmare. But I persisted. Katie and I persisted, and we kept up with these systems. Like, let's continue to do this. These are our standards. Let's continue. These are our standards. Let's continue. These are our standards. And then after about 5 years, I remember my mother-in-law telling me, well, Jason, I'm really proud that you guys held on to your standards. And I realized that she didn't want us to fail. She was going to see how serious we were about it. She was going to see what we really believed, if we were just giving lip service or if that's who we really were. And once she realized that's who we really were, there was a lot of respect that came our way. I realized that this is an impactful story because in construction, I think a lot of times we as superintendents, and again, that's the example I'm using in this podcast, so forgive me, the situation that we're in is that we want to be friends, kind of. We want to be in good relationships with the trade partners, with the foreman, with these people that we work with every day. And we want to be in their good graces and we don't want to, anger them. And we know that, if we give a trade partner $10,000 worth of favors, they'll give us back $100,000 worth of favors. And so there's this hesitancy, there's this reluctance to go really stand strong on some of these things. But this is the concept. Every trade partner on that site, with the exception of about 1 to 5%, want you to stand strong. And most of the time, people are pushing you to see what you truly believe in. So if you're going to hold the line on cleanliness, if you're going to hold the line on quality, or on your meeting structures, or on your safety reports, or your safety inspections, or whatever you're going to do, you have to outlast them. You have to work harder than them. You have to make sure that you prove that's a real thing. You have to implement consequences. And then after a while, just like my mother-in-law, you will see that they respect you. They will come to say, I always knew where you stood. They will come to believe in your system, because at the end of the day, people really want to believe in great things. And when a superintendent comes up and says, oh, on this job it's going to be different, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do, a lot of the trades are like, yeah, I've heard that before. I just went through my 100th, orientation video. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I've heard that before. But really, are you going to be different? Are you, as a superintendent or a field engineer or PM, are you going to be different? Are you going to stand the test of time? Are you going to hold tight? Are you going to show leadership? And are you going to set that example? Because I can assure you, nobody wants you to fail. They're waiting to see if you are real. I promise you that that is a 100% fact. So they want you to stand strong, and you need to keep going. People need to believe, and then they need to see as we see. People need systems in order to keep things in check, to curb the change, and to outpace that entropy. So here's the solution. You should use, if you want to, as a trial, as an experiment, as a baseline on your project, unless you can come up with a better system, which I hope you do. Please share it with me if you do. You should use texting systems on site. Now, if you were driving and you're like, what in the world did he just say? If you're like standing up and you just sat down, or you're freaked out right now, just give me a minute. Texting is something that most of us are addicted to. Texting is something that's quick and easy, and you can see it. It's real time. There's this little ping. We're like Pavlov's dog. We start drooling when we get these pings. Remember, it has to be just like our social media, that is addictive, that's quick, that's fast, that we're used to, right? So I would use texting systems. Okay, so this is how I use it on the site. Is if I'm going to do a walk, and let me just mention really quickly that the three success habits of a builder are to be in your plans, studying your drawings 30 minutes a day, to be in your schedule 30 minutes a day, and then to go do a reflection walk. All of those systems are triggers. If I'm in the plans, I can go take snippets or have that remind me, send those snippets to people to say, hey, what about this? Let's do this. Let's delegate this. Let's put this on a to do list. Also, when I'm in my schedule, hey, let's trigger this work. Let's prepare for that. Let's set up a pre install. And when I'm out doing my reflection walk, if I'm taking pictures and sending text messages, that is a trigger system to delegate and to inform and to make sure that I'm getting certain things on the right agenda, the right checklist. So if I'm going on a field walk, I'm either going to text an assignment to a trade partner or I'm going to text an assignment to my logistics people, my craft, or I am going to put an agenda note item on my to-do list or my team meeting minutes or my trade partner meeting minutes or somewhere where I can pick that information up again. It is that walk is a system to trigger other things to be done. And so if you're trying to maintain a system where that site is clean, organized, safe, on time, proper meeting systems, proper rotations, everything is in its place, then we need to have a system that's quick, and texting can do that for you. So I recommend as the current best practice, and I'll give you some other thoughts for softwares after this or applications after this. I use as a current system the GroupMe app on my phone. It works with Android phones and with iPhones. It doesn't have any difficulty with the crossover. If you put that app on your phone, it has the little notification saying that there are current messages. So it has that little red notification dot. So it's as addictive as a regular text message system. It's addictive as Facebook, right? And I make sure to get that on all of the team's phones, everyone on the team, every one of the trade partner foremen and superintendents, everyone has it. And most especially your craft, your GC, your GR paid for craft, your logistics craft, your logistics foreman, your logistics carpenter, laborers, whatever you call them, your people that do not work 100% as the cost of work or in concrete or in framing and drywall, the people that are there for the actual GC team, those people have to be on that same system, even if you get them a phone. Okay. And then when I do these walks and I'm like, oh, here's a pile, take a picture. Hey, so and so, can we get this pile picked up first thing in the morning? It's in level 3, area A. Send it. There you go. Okay, do another photo, another photo, another photo. And typically you'll find 10 or 15 of these pictures with assignments. And now tomorrow, your logistics people have a list of things that they're going to go do. And that text string is an interactive way for them to have a to-do list. It's not stagnant. It's not hidden. It's right there for you to follow up on, right? And then they can take follow-up pictures, and I'll talk about that in a minute, and send it back to you when it's done. Same thing with the trade partners. Hey, pipe fitter guys, can you get this area tomorrow, level 4 area A, we need this done. Yeah, 10-4, not a problem. I'll get that on there tomorrow. You can go out and do a walk and have about 10 or 15 pictures for your trade partners to follow up on. And that becomes a continuous system. Now, once this starts to happen, everyone starts to see as you see things. Everything has a system. Everybody has a system to keep things in check and to outpace that entropy, like I said before I started this. So you have a text system on an app like GroupMe. Your logistics people have a copy of it. Your trade partners have a copy of it, and everyone sees this. And there's a feedback loop. As soon as something is completed, your foreman, your craft, your trade partners can take a picture and say, done. This is the way it looks. Now, here's the key. Everyone likes to be liked. Everyone likes to be reviewed. Like when this podcast goes out, I hate to say it, I'm a little bit ashamed of it, but when I see how many hits, or if I see that somebody's rated the podcast, or I see that somebody's made a comment, that's like one of the most delightful things for me because I feel like I'm doing good and I thrive on praise and I'm very responsive to criticism. Okay. And I think most people are like that. So as soon as your labor foreman or your carpenter foreman or whoever's out there receives that message back, hey, great job. Hey, wow, that looks fantastic. They're like, wow, I'm getting real-time feedback on these things, and it's not just being ignored and going to waste. A lot of our craft really feel unappreciated, and I'm not whining here. I'm just saying that they're out there doing their job, and we kind of sometimes as management take it for granted. Yeah, that's your job, you should have done that, and we don't always say thank you. The best superintendents, the best PMs, the best builders in this industry will go say thank you, will show appreciation, and there really isn't a quicker way to do it than by using these texting systems. Wow, great job. Same thing with the trade partners. It is really interesting to see the kind of treatment that trade partners, that subcontractors have to go through. If you've ever been hired out as like a self-perform subcontractor to another GC, you'll know what that feels like. It can be a very unrewarding, thankless, kind of a hostile environment. And so the more that we can show appreciation and thanks to our people, the better off we are. And we get to, do it with high standards and high respect. So I really like that. So there's a feedback loop. So you have to like the comments. You have to hit the little heart symbol. You have to say, hey, great job. And then people will start to get addicted to this feedback loop, and they'll start seeing like you see it. They'll start getting addicted to it. They'll start believing. Remember that forming habits takes about 60 days. I know that there are people out in the industry that say, oh, it takes 23 days or 27 days. Well, that's actually not correct. It takes a minimum of 60 days to start to build a habit. And if you're talking about, calendar days, that's 2 months. If you're talking about working days, like all of us schedulers think, that's 3 months. That's 3 months to ingrain that habit. So you as a superintendent have to be picking up trash, doing these walks, reinforcing behavior, holding people accountable at least for 3 months. And then it becomes a sustainable system. And then new contractors are onboarded by the existing contractors because you've created a culture. So let's talk about that. Here's the definition of a culture. A culture is the customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. And for construction, it's really, the standard beliefs, the standard habits, the principles, the concepts, the standard operating procedures, the actions, the enforcements, the accountability of a social group within the construction environment. So we have to create these cultures, and it takes time. And I'm going to say that it at least takes 3 months' time. So if you have these fast, hard-hitting jobs, you might just have to be in dictatorship mode for a while until it's self-sustaining, but it's still worth it, in my opinion. Let me give you just a sample little speech of what I would tell our trade partners when they ask why we're doing these systems. They've got it, they get the notifications, and, they might not fully get it. Here's a speech, because remember, we have to get to somebody's intellect. They need to know what to do. We have to get to somebody's heart. They need to feel why they should do it and have an emotional connection, and then we need to clear the path. If I'm in a trade partner meeting, I'll say, does everybody know here why we're so strict with safety, why we're so strict with cleanliness? And cleanliness specifically, can you guys give me some feedback? And then inevitably somebody will say, well, so that we're safe, so that, we have a good job, so that we take care of that owner. And I turn it into this. I'm like, I care so much about safety because it's all about respect for people. I respect you, and it is not fair if I allow you as a wonderful contractor to get taken advantage of either by me or my people or another subcontractor or trade partner that's not towing the line, that's not keeping the standards. And it's my job to make sure that we have an equal playing system and that we have equal standards and that everyone's held to high expectations so that you can succeed. If somebody's out of line at the hoist, they're taking money out of your pocket. Somebody has cords on the ground in front of your scissor lifts on the floor, they're taking money out of your pocket. If there's rooms that are full of trash and your people can't move around, you can't do your work, they're taking money out of your pocket. They're making your life miserable. They're ruining your productivity. And I am here to protect that. I am here to respect you. And we owe it to our people to respect each and every worker out there in the field. And that is why we hold these systems, because what you would expect going into a new area is what we should provide for everybody else. And that's the way respectful systems work. So if I ask you to go clean up, if I send you a text, that's not punishment. I'm not calling you out. I'm not trying to make you look bad. I'm keeping a standard system. We are holding standards on this job site so that you are the hero, the respected person. You are the person that we are focused on. You are the money that we are trying to make. You are the company that we are trying to make profitable. Your production codes are the ones that we're trying to take care of. Your reputation is the one that we're improving. Everything here is about respect. And if I truthfully explain those things in context, people will come around because you're inspiring them and appealing to the nobler motives. So here's a challenge. On your project, please remember that you need to set the standard. You need to make sure that everybody intellectually knows in their mind what the expectations are. Get it into their work orders. I remember one time in a mass huddle, I was looking at the workers and I was looking at the foreman. And I was looking at the foreman and I was looking at other people's, their project managers, the same company's project manager. I'm like, okay, let's just get this out on the table. I paid with these work orders for a clean, organized, and safe site with 30 minutes of setup every morning, and I expect it to happen. I go to Cold Stone, I order a chocolate ice cream, and I want hot fudge on it, and I paid $5. I expect to get my chocolate ice cream. And if you don't give me my ice cream, I'm not giving you my $5. And in this situation, I've given you the $5. You better give me my ice cream. I paid for everybody to be clean, everyone to be organized, to be at these huddles, to have scheduled deliveries, to be in these meeting systems, to keep these reports, to do these safety walks, to keep these rotations in the lunchroom, and on and on and on and on. And I look at the workers and I say, your foremen are not allowed to speed you up and make you come hit the ground running. You need your 30 minutes in the morning and you have time to clean it up. Foreman, you are not allowed to tell your workers to go avoid those things that would be respectful for them, that would allow them to set up their day, and that would provide for a remarkable experience. Foreman, your project managers are not allowed to come out here and tell you that you need to speed up and you don't have time to do these things. I paid for this. Do you understand? And project managers, do not come out here and start telling people that they have to hurry up and avoid all these systems. I paid for it. I want it. You guys all need to be accountable to each other, and there can't be any communication breakdown from PM to superintendent to foreman to worker, or from worker to foreman to superintendent to project manager. We need to deliver what we were supposed to deliver for our customer. And every morning we would go over what are the conditions of satisfaction for our customer, and we would tie it back to their contracts. So that is a challenge that I would like to give you. Get it into their work orders, get it into their contracts. Notify the trades that that's what you're going to do, that these are the standards on your project site, and then explain the system. Then begin these daily walks and make assignments. And I'm talking day after day after day after day. But here's the thing. A lot of superintendents run around by necessity because they don't know any better, like just always fighting fires, answering questions. I personally have learned to run a project in a way where I can go do a huddle, I can meet with the foreman, and most of the day I have completely free because everyone knows where they're headed. All questions are answered. Everyone is heading in the same direction, and we are good to go. And so, if you can get that kind of stability on your project, then you will have time to go do these daily walks. And I'm talking it takes 20, 30 minutes, hey, maybe even an hour. But because you run such a stable project, you have the rest of the day to plan, organize, safety presence in the field, walk, interact, to get out ahead, to do these things. And so I don't think it's a big deal to go do these walks and to set the expectations and to line our people out, because at the end of the day, being a leader means that we're scaling communication and we're setting expectations. So that's a challenge for you. Begin these walks and hold people accountable. Each assignment that you make should have a picture, an assigned person, a date it should be done or a time it should be done, and the area where the picture was taken. Now, some people get worried. Well, this isn't on, like a Procore system, or it's not on Prolog, or it's not on CMIC, or it's not on for us to follow up. Well, you're going to have a little bit of trust with this. You're going to have to get away from the concept of needing to control everything. And if there's one or two pictures that get missed, that's fine, because you're going to do a walk the next day. We don't have to get bogged down with the keeping records of these things. But if you do need to keep records, if corporate's making you do this for legal reasons or safety reasons, then go do one of your walks that week with Procore. Go do one of your walks with CMIC. Go do one of your walks with SafetyNet or with Prolog or whatever you're going to use, and house that data in those assignments. But I'm telling you, a quick text system is the quickest way to take care of those things daily, and it's the only way to be fast enough to outpace entropy on your project site. Begin following up and hold the line and address the issues. Don't tolerate bad behavior. If somebody's not towing the line, go have a talk, or on the text system be like, "Hey guys, I'm not going to put up with this. If we don't get this fixed, dot dot dot." Obviously your response or your consequences need to be legal and appropriate, but don't tolerate it. Make sure that you're going to correct the situation. And I promise you that this system works everywhere it's tried, if it's tried and implemented appropriately, according to the processes that I just talked to you about. So here are some tips and tricks. Always explain daily in your morning huddles why you're doing something. Create that social group, create that context, teach, explain, remind. Get your people on the technology. Every foreman, every superintendent, all of your craft workers that are in charge and need these tech systems, meaning your foreman, the people in charge of it, everyone on your team, get everyone on that technology. Get a feedback loop where you praise them as they go. Encourage transparency. Make sure that people know that this isn't a punitive system. This is a reminding system. Teach them lean. Teach them that problems are not a problem. Teach them that lean means you bring all problems to the surface. You bring it up as a team. Teach them that quality is not about not finding something, but finding as many problems as you can and fixing them. Teach them continuously to be radically transparent and teach them how to solve those problems and how to quickly address it. It's not whether we find something, it's how quickly we respond to it. If I had my way, we would have safety professionals do walks with pictures once a week on every project, and that project team would respond to those things within 24 hours. And daily, we would have texting systems for safety that really drove remarkable environments out in the field. Now, let me explain to you what I see when projects do this really well. And I have examples over and over and over. They're everywhere where people have gone and implemented this appropriately. It's magical. All the project team has to do is care and really buy into this. You'll go into that project and the entryway will be beautiful. You'll go out there and the stair tower and the hoist and everything, and especially the trash chute and the dumpster. Everything's clean around there. You're like, wait a minute, these are usually dirty. This is beautiful. Staging yards look good. Then you go from floor to floor and they're swept. And you're like, what in the world? This looks like I'm at like the Macy's department store here. This looks beautiful. And then you might see like one or two little things throughout the project as you go where you're like, oh, okay, there's something that we can fix. And then at the end of the day, that assistant super, project super, field engineer, you see those pictures of those same things that you saw getting onto that text system to be addressed the next morning. And here's what you'll start to see. The easy things like cleanup, handrail, toe boards will start to reduce. The amount of items that you find like that will reduce. And then you'll start to see items like, oh, I just checked this rigging. Oh, I'm looking at the rigging. I'm looking at these wire ropes. I'm looking at these straps and I'm replacing these. Hey, I'm looking at fire extinguishers. And then you'll start to get into things like confined space and you'll start to look at tie-off points. And like this system will start to get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into more focused, more complex, more important, and more critical safety items than just cleanliness and the just general things that you would see day to day. And that's what you'll see. Every time I try this, it works. Every day, it needs to be quick, it needs to be addictive, and it needs to be informative. Just like I said in the beginning, back to that quote. So that's what you'll see. There are also softwares out there like Field Chat. There are other applications like, WhatsApp, or you can just do a regular text string, which I don't recommend. But please remember, whatever you do has to be as addictive as Facebook, as informative as YouTube, and as quick as Wikipedia. Message me if you want a topic, or if you want to do an interview, or if you want to provide feedback, or if you want to talk to me about any of these concepts. Remember, this podcast came as a response to a question that I received the other day on LinkedIn. So the vision for this is that we have remarkable and sustainable job sites. And I will one day talk about Paul Akers' system in 2-second lean, where you come back to these standards daily, you fix things daily, you make 2-second lean improvements daily, which should be shared. And I'll talk about that in a future podcast. And also, you should tour people through your site. Once you get these systems up and running, if you can get a person touring your site weekly or monthly or even every quarter, and show off the good work that you're doing, that team, those workers, those foremen, the management team on that site will be incentivized to keep it up. They will believe in it themselves. They will start bragging about it themselves, even if they fought it at first, and it will become a sustainable system. And I'll talk about that in a future podcast. But the vision for this is that every worker comes to a beautiful project. Every worker comes to a stable environment. And you go out there and you are just proud of what you're doing, and it's consistent day in and day out. So I hope this helps. I hope you catch the vision of this, of how remarkable it could be. And I hope you think to yourself, man, when we have trash everywhere and banana peels and 2x4s everywhere and the floors look disgusting and there's dust all over everything and there's trash around the chute, I want you to look at it and say, gosh, that's disgusting. We're pigs. Like, we need to fix this. Like, I'm not good enough right now as a leader. I need to fix this. Because honestly, dirty, disgusting job sites, unsafe job sites, unorganized job sites are beneath us. We're better than that. And we deserve better. Everything on site should bring you joy. And that's the bottom line. So there's the challenge. Let's get it done, guys. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.